tools menu, which I know a lot of you guys probably didn't know that there are so many resources that you can get off of there. So I'm just going to quickly go through the list, okay? Bed management, many of you on this call are not even going to need to know about it. It's really for the inpatient staff. It's how they track, who's coming in, which bed is used up, and all that. So we're going to ignore that one. Clinical resource links is actually really, really good because right there, if you wanted to track consults, for those of you who are interested in that, you can click on this link and access the consult tracking software. There's also VAPIHCS, which talks about, I think, medications, different types of meds and what they are. So it's good for any clinicians that's on the call, any nurses. I'm just going to click on it real quickly. It probably takes a minute because it's super slow, so I'm going to move on. Framingham Risk Assessment, again, it's a calculator for nursing staff or clinicians mostly to calculate your risk for heart disease. Health-wise patient education topics, that's for diseases, really good for nursing staff. I'm going to click on that link as well. And even if you're not clinician and you're just interested in reading more about certain conditions, you actually can do that here. You see there's some basic topics here that you can go into and you can read about it. So that's all free. Janus, obviously, if you want to go in and see tripler data for your patients. Insight is really, really cool. Does anybody, I guess a lot of people on the call might have heard about Insight but may not really be familiar with it. Everybody should have access to Insight, and what it is it's a software that allows you to track clinical reminders that are due across patients. You can track by provider, you can track by clinic, you can track by location. It's very much similar to the consult tracking application, but it kind of is geared towards reminders and other clinical practice performance measure items. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. You would use your CPRS account to log in. So let's say I was a clerk in Module 3 and I wanted to see for a particular provider how many reminders are due for his patient. So what I would do is I would log into Insight, and then I would just go under the clinical reminders menu at the very top and click on reminders due. You notice that there's other categories. So if I was a mental health clerk, I would go into the mental health section of the reminders and see all of those. If I was just interested in diabetes, I could go there. Or if I was in women's health, I would go into the women's health menu. Let's say you were in Module 2. You would click on Module 2 at the top, and then you can narrow it down by provider, or you can just leave it for all the patients on Module 2, and then you can change the date range if you wanted to just narrow it down to patients that have appointments within that date range that reminders might be due for. And the cool thing is here you can see, for example, if this particular patient has a hypertension one that's going to be due in June 8th, and he's got an appointment on June 13th. So you can kind of keep an eye on, what reminders need to be done for what patient. So that's the reminders. That's the Insight application. Does anybody have any questions about that? So it's accessed off of the clinical resource link, and it's under Insight. The library link, for all the clinicians on this call, you can access all these online journals and databases for free because we have a license and we pay for these services. So you definitely want to make use of it if you're like a nurse on the ward or in the clinics, or you're a physician and you want to take a look at any of this stuff. There's Medscape for nursing, Micromedics, there's Ovid, New England Journal of Medicine, and a bunch of other stuff on there. Okay, so good resources for you to use. The Sanford Guide, I'm not really sure what that is, so I'm just going to click on it and we'll figure it out. It looks like it's for disease conditions, so if you wanted to look up different diseases, you can use this website and search. It's more for clinicians. And then also Stedman abbreviations. If you wanted to know what PNR means or what what other abbreviations mean medically, then you can go onto this link and you can search for it. If you ever come across this warning sign, just click run. It's okay. It's safe. And here it is. You can type in the abbreviation, or you can just use the scroll bar and you can look for it. So for example, if I wanted to know what PRN means, I type it in and then it jumps to that, and then if I just click on it one time or double click on it, it's going to show you what the meaning of that abbreviation is. So it's really good for nursing, or even for people that are reviewing medical records and they're not sure what the shorthand is or the abbreviation and they want to know what that means. They can go on here and search for it.